Marfoogle TV Live. How you plan, do it all by yourself. Don't let anybody stop you. Your instincts got all right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. We got a lot to go over, so let's get into it. Russia says foreign troops in Ukraine would be targets after UK and France pledge a post-ceasefire deployment. Again, they think that it would be a good idea to send in France and, of course, UK soldiers into the Ukraine battle. And what they ended up saying in Russia is that, hey, these are going to be open game for our targets. We're going to be able to take them out, and you won't be able to say anything because you are hopping into an active war. Russia said on Thursday that any troops sent to Ukraine by Western governments would be legitimate combat targets after Britain and France announced plans to deploy multinational force there in an event of ceasefire. Now, what I think is interesting, too, is there's been a lot of predictive experts that have said that there would be some sort of multinational force that would go in and go into Ukraine, and that some in their predictive scenarios, they actually have that as a specific scenario where something goes wrong, then a barracks full of NATO soldiers, France or UK or whatever example they use, gets hit, and then it starts a much bigger war. So I hope that doesn't happen. But again, why would they send them in if that they are just straight up saying like, hey, we're going to have them as combat targets if they do put them in? Russia and Ukraine does not look like it is going to end anytime soon. People think that this is going to be peaceful. People are not attaching all of the events, Iran, Venezuela, Cuba, of course, North Korea, what's going on with that, and China right now, and then the U.S., what is happening inside our country, very well could be connected, and what is going on with us trying to get Greenland. It is every day, and now it's like every 6 hours. Something changed overnight. So we're going to talk about that and much, much more on today's show. So stick around. We're going to be right back after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. We've talked to military. They say it's gonna be scary, but we still have to stand up and fight. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. Let's bring in my co-host / internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
All right, so let's get into one of the first pieces here, which it obviously is connected to the first story, which, they say basically any foreign troops in Ukraine are combat targets. Dex, do you want to go over Russia harshly condemns U.S. seizing their tanker at the same time?
Well, of course, we knew this was going to be a big deal for them, but Russia on Thursday today came out and strongly condemned the U.S. seizure of the oil tanker, heralding a new chill in the relations between Moscow and Washington that could spread to other areas and affect Trump's efforts to persuade Russia to end its nearly 4-year war in Ukraine. It's no surprise because even before we seized this tanker, a couple of days ago, I think it was maybe 3 days ago, Trump was just saying, yeah, he was very angry, I think was his words, angry with Putin. I think this was in relation to when Putin said that his home had been attacked by drones. So, and the fact that went down and then later came out to be not true, or at least from U.S. intelligence was not true. So I don't know that Russia's actually saying that this new chill is all of a sudden because of the oil. I think the chill was there before the oil seizure, this tanker seizure. But anyway, the seizure Wednesday of the Russian flag tanker in the North Atlantic can only lead to a further escalation of military and political tension in the Euro-Atlantic region, as well as visible lowering of the threshold of use of force against peaceful shipping, according to the Russian Foreign Ministry. Russia's President Vladimir Putin hasn't yet actually commented himself on the seizure of the tanker and has remained silent about the U.S. capture of Venezuela leader Nicolas Maduro. So all of the talking heads who work for him are the ones pontificating and espousing these different statements, including even some lower level people yesterday, as we were talking about in their not parliament, but the Duma or whatever it was called, saying that they could use nukes because we attacked this ship, and that they should also sink a couple of American ships.
I'm surprised he hasn't said anything about Maduro being taken. There's no comments yet from Putin himself?
Not from himself, just from his talking heads.
Which most of you already know that RT, well, I wouldn't even say so much RT. There's channels there that are news channels there. Their talking heads have to go by certain guidelines. If they say something that can piss off the Kremlin, then they lose their job. We've actually reported about 2 or 3 of them. They get fired immediately if they say anything out of line. So most of the things are approved, sort of like how it works in China. And I would like to say that doesn't happen here, but we kind of know of some people. What the difference here is that they can just then open up a Twitter and start their own show. All right. And let's see here. We also have the Trump admin reportedly considering paying each Greenland resident. Now, I don't know if you've noticed this, but everybody is talking about Minneapolis and what's going on there. The second event, we just covered that. A second event just happens to happen in Portland. Probably the worst place to have any kind of DHS, Border Patrol conflict between the public. It happened in Portland. So as all of that is going on, they are every 6 hours, their focus, their traveling itinerary is all about Greenland. They're reportedly putting together this package or this offer to Greenland. They're even talking about anywhere from $10,000 per resident in Greenland to up to $100,000 to each resident to get Greenland. And I don't know if that means if they're, and by the way, aren't they doing it like, I don't think they'll actually get that money, right? Or are they kind of breaking it up because there's 54,000 people that live there and they're giving so much money that it's basically that much to their country or something? Or are they actually talking about personal payments?
I think they're talking about giving it to the people, making sure they get it. So something like $6 billion for 57,000.
Think about that, Dex. Think about if another country that was technically, if the number one country, if I was somewhere else and not in America, and another country was trying to offer me $100,000, and every person that ever has lived there, and the person that the country that's running my stuff said no, I would be pissed, especially with the world and how it is right now. I don't know how, what it is to live in Greenland and how expensive it is or how cheap it is to live in Greenland, but $100,000 right now, I'm sure most people would go, hey, bye Denmark. We don't really care about the Denmark background. We want $100,000. I mean, most human beings, if they see somebody, a blind person with a $100,000 lotto ticket, they'll do a horrible sin and take it. That's how bad people are. So when they are offering a potential pay lump sum to every single person, they really want Greenland. And they're going for that because now the people of Greenland, if they do that, now the people of Greenland are going to want it and say, hey, what are you doing? You're messing up our money. It's kind of like, a company. If a company does something wrong and the shareholders are like, hey, you can't not take this money. It was like the Twitter transfer, right? They were like, hey, the shareholders want us to take the $44 billion. And all these other people are saying no. I mean, this is nuts. The Greenland thing is a big deal. Dex, what do you think about how every 6 hours they're traveling around? Their main focus is Greenland right now.
Well, yeah, but you say they would all take it. I wonder if they would want what's going on in the streets of Minneapolis and Greenland, or if they would say, you know what, 100,000 is not enough for that. We don't want to be part of America.
Well, they're not going
but-
to be, though. But also, I would wonder if they worry about being a target if they are then America. Let me show you this.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a big thing, but they are a target already. They're a target of Russia. They're a target of China. So I guess they need to think who's going to protect them the best. Who's going to either give them some semblance of independence, like maybe a state would, because a state has some semblance of independence, part of a union, right? And protection from the rest of the union versus China or Russia. And who do they want to align with? Because at the end of the day, the only person protecting them right now is Denmark.
Okay, so we're gonna get to a clip. We're gonna show you a clip here. It's actually pretty funny. The president talking about it. But what's not funny is the ramifications of this. So if you're wondering why do we want Greenland? Many people think that there's minerals there. Even parts of the administration have admitted, yes, there's minerals there, but that's not the main concern. Right now, with everything that's going on with Venezuela, I know it's a red herring for China. So after that happened, we can't see what the intelligence services are seeing right now. We don't know what's happening behind the scenes after we took Maduro, affected Cuba, affected right now Iran. We're backing up the protesters. The president has a potential strike package ready right now to strike Iran if they do anything to these protesters. And there's now hundreds and hundreds of thousands of protesters. Tehran is loaded. All these cities are loaded now. Now that's confirmed. Like, it is getting really bad in Iran. So much so that the supreme leader has a plan with 20 of his cronies to go to Russia if it gets too bad. The central bank there is preparing to back up all of their info. They're worried about a complete crash. They're worried, actually, by what it sounds like, they're worried about a cyber attack that knocks them down. So right now, I believe the U.S. is not only going after Venezuela, we're doing the first attack. None of this is being called a war right now, by the way. So, and the Greenland is all about national security. He's saying it's about national security, but he didn't say this before. Remember, when this was being first talked about, it was a joke. He is ran over this idea tons of times before, and only in the last few months did they say, like, hey, well, we're not ruling out force to take it. Denmark says that if we get Greenland somehow, that all of NATO will dissolve. The president had a great response to that, which was like, are you kidding? He's like, what would NATO be without the U.S.? NATO needs the U.S. for that. All of the other European nations, they're not going to want that. Like, you guys are going to need us. And he goes, we're there for NATO even when NATO's there not for us. If we got attacked by Russia, I wonder how NATO would be there for us. So check this clip out. This is crazy. So this is a plane. There's reporters on the plane. This was shown on Valuetainment. Great clip here, and it is, I believe, originally APT. So let's play this short clip. I'm going to unmute it, and then I'm going to turn the volume down, and that does turn down Dex, so let me know after this video when Dex starts talking if everything's good. Okay, so...
Oh, I don't want to talk about Greenland now.
Oh, no, I don't want to talk about Greenland now. After the dog sled.
Oh, my God. And the European Union needs us.
No.
This is President Trump talking about the necessity of acquiring Greenland.
Go for it.
I will say this about Greenland. We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security.
Cold War, too.
And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you that. You know what Denmark did recently to boost up security in Greenland? They added one more dog sled. It's true. They thought that was a great move.
Okay, so he's talking about it, and you can confirm that they did add a dog sled. Okay, so obviously they're looking at it from their standpoint, and they're saying this is a crucial this is a crucial thing to our actual safety here in the United States. And they can't tell us what the rest of the plan is obviously they want to put weapon systems and possibly even nukes and deterrences and interception there. They have a base there with monitor and detection, and Denmark has said, well, you can add some more troops. We'll build you another base. They don't want that. They want to have control over it. And he makes a very good statement there, which is very telling. He says this isn't going to just be safety for the U.S. This is going to be safety for the world. This is directly connected to the Golden Dome system, which, as we know, is in the process right now. They are trying to speed this up. They are cutting all corners. They have even done things to where they can get information, top secret information passed through the Congress and passed through different levels faster so they can get this done by the time he ends his term. He wants this to be his legacy, the Golden Dome. And the Golden Dome is such it would cause instability in the whole planet at the same time as stability for the U.S., because if this system does what it says it's going to do, it would essentially make MAD, mutually assured destruction, go out the window. If it does what they say it would do. Dex, I mean, did you think that was freaking hilarious? He's like, they added a dog sled.
Yeah, a dog sled.
So
military.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I just, but nobody's trying to, and he's saying that China and Russia are very, very interested in Greenland. Well, what if when China takes Taiwan, what if he's doing this too? Because they have information that China is not only going to take Taiwan, they used all these landing ships, and they also take somewhere like Greenland. And then they're right there. They have all of these Arctic ships that they've been building. They've been building up their Arctic capabilities along with Russia like nobody else. In fact, we've covered pieces where experts basically say that, we're behind in the Arctic, area, in the arena, but behind Russia and China in this area, because they are opening shipping lanes up there. They even opened one of the first shipping lanes where they can completely cut through the Arctic to do this. So what did you guys think of that? I think that Greenland and everything that's going on right now, it's all connected. Something is going on in the background, and my main point is people need to prep. Like, I'm telling you, this is the year, and I'm very, it's not like this is something we want. I felt like Venezuela wasn't a first strike. I feel like what's going on in Iran is potentially to break down their alliance to actually save us from having a World War III. And I know that people that hate the president, they want to disagree with that all day, including some of you. And it's okay to think something different. I'm not saying that the president is the all-time hero or anything, but I do believe he cares about his legacy enough that he is trying to stop this war, and he knows it's about to happen. Dex, let's go over. We're going to be going over here in a second. I just want to do a quick sound check, though. How can you just say something for a second?
Yeah, sure. Jeff B in chat was letting people know that there was a strong missile attack from Russia, and it was now being confirmed by others, like Visegrad 24, that it was came in. That Ukraine confirms it came in at like 13,000 kilometers an hour with a ballistic trajectory. So they're saying it's probably the second time now that an IRBM, the Orshnik IRBM with the MIRV technology, was used. So kind of a big deal. In the sense that that's one of their newer, faster missiles. And some call it ICBM like, but it's IRBM, intermediate range, or interregional or something. Like it's got more... instead of intercontinental, it's intermediate range ballistic missile. Gotcha.
Well, and everybody's talking about Minneapolis. We'll mention that here in a bit too. And again, if you're like, why aren't you covering that? We did over on news. Make sure to go watch that, because a lot of folks are questioning what the hell is going on here, and it's going to get worse, especially since that event in Portland happened. Even if everybody agrees, like, hey, this was this kind of situation, doesn't matter. Media and half of social media is going to cover it a different way. All right, and then before we move on, make sure to go check out EMP Shield. This is a device I believe in. I believe that you guys should definitely have it if you don't already have one. This can protect your vehicles, your cars, your trucks, your motorcycles, your boats, pretty much anything against not only, of course, EMP, but also CME. It is not loading for me. I don't know what's going on with this tab, but I'll of course put the link. You can go to our website. You can actually go to marfooglenews.com, and not only you will find a full bibliography of all of our shows, but you will also have all of our affiliates there. So I kind of panicked there, thinking I lost internet. Oh gosh. Okay. But if you go to deals, in fact, right now they are the best deals, and the EMP sale is about to end. That is the end of the year sale that was extended from Black Friday. They've basically kept a 2.5 month sale going. That is the largest sale they've done in years. Obviously, it's been successful. I'm sure with all of the other affiliates out there doing it too, that there's a lot of people getting them, especially with what's going on in the world. But I highly recommend it because it will protect you against the natural event, a Carrington level event, and it will protect you against a man-made event of an EMP. So go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Again, marfooglenews.com/EMP. There's devices for everything and anything that you want to protect. All right, Dex, let's...
And let me add to what I said just a moment ago about Jeff B's comment, and that some are now reporting that the Pentagon Pizza Index is spiking.
I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah, and then there's also, and this happens quite often, but it could be coincidence or it could be connected. They're saying there's a nuke sniffer in the air with refuelers over Kansas. So that happens, but the fact that it's coinciding with, this high-end missile launch against Ukraine may be interesting. So we'll see.
The pizza index thing, that basically showing there's some very powerful people. There's a ton of people in Washington D.C. right now, right? And isn't that kind of where they basically that there's something big going on in D.C. Is that what they're pointing out?
No, the pizza index is whenever big stuff goes down, people stay late at the Pentagon and they order pizza from the local pizza shops. And people have been tracking the number of pizza orders. And when they see the pizza orders spike, then they know there's something big going down at the Pentagon, meaning people are stuck there late night doing something big, like an event.
I saw that yesterday, and I totally thought it was. I thought it was related to the other stuff that everybody talked about back in 2017-18. Oh wow! So look at this. Yeah, 1,250% surge in orders recorded at Papa John's Pizzeria near the Pentagon. Holy crap! So
I mean, it's cheap food to feed lots of people, right? So it's an easy indicator.
Huh. So everybody's staying overnight. They're freaking working nonstop hours. Okay. Well, that's not a good sign. And then, Dex, let's talk about Tehran on fire and what's going on there.
Wow. So what is like 12th night, 11th night? I don't know. It's getting up there, but Tehran is now on fire. They've started to burning some of the regime buildings down, they say. The Iranian regime continues to struggle to contain the protests. And this is today, mostly during the day, and the night was starting to fall, and we'll update you on what happened when it got dark. But several clips are emerging showing the protesters taking to the streets, even though they've been told that this is, really, it's a dire situation with the government, and the fact that they can be jailed and taken out over this. And so they're risking a lot. Of course, they've got Trump on their side, which Iran leadership is not happy about, when he's telling the public there, yeah, go ahead, we'll protect you. But in many of the clips that are out there, there's different structures that are being demolished, like government buildings that are engulfed in fire. Several people can be seen chanting, long live the Shah, in reference to the former leader before they went to the leadership they have now. And one of the journalists went on to say, what an extraordinary crowd received from, Tehran just now. Anyway, lots of activity, lots of fires, and lots of escalation. And then I think that kind of the result of that is what happened next.
And well, just on this again too, we want to point out, when we covered Syria and Bashar al-Assad getting taken out, Iran had a military presence, it had a money presence, it had all of this this tie-in with Syria. Syria was an op, okay? That whole thing, that wasn't organic. Do you remember the guy that went on the CNN? He went on the CNN interview. He was a former Al-Qaeda. now wearing a freaking blazer, and now he's a revolutionary that's taking Syria back, right? And we said, well, that's crazy. He's on CNN. He's got a $50 million, or I think it was $10 million bounty on his head at the time. And we're like, well, we know where he is. The CNN definitely knows where he is, right? And I guarantee you, that's another thing. The U.S. government knew where he was because they can track all of CNN's journalists with our intelligence. So it was obvious that they could have got him. And then it was so obvious that this was something we approved of that you had the president drop his bounty. So, and this is somebody who was part of Al-Qaeda, right? And Al-Qaeda, you can go dig down rabbit holes on that. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of connections between clandestine services of the United States and all of the Middle East and what was going on over there, all the way back to 2001. Many people have their theories about what happened in 2001. It's painful to even think about some of those theories for people that lost ones. But how it started, the Patriot Act, it started this whole chain of events that essentially the U.S. started tracking and tracing and monitoring every single person on Earth, right? And they used that as the driver. So motivation there, and missing money, missing gold, that kind of thing, missing files, whole things deleted, the whole 9 yards. No pun intended. So this Iran thing, it is I think that this is completely connected to everything that's going on. And speaking of which, I should say unconnected now, because now apparently the internet is blacked out. Dex.
Well, yeah, exactly. So given the fact that they're losing, when I say they, the government, the regime there is losing control of the situation. They admitted that they couldn't control it. They admitted they didn't have enough power to contain this. And so now they have, plunged into an internet blackout. I don't know that the power necessarily is out, but they've basically shut down the internet, which they've done before when they've had these protests. It's, we don't know if somebody like Elon is going to, turn on Starlink in that area. He did in the past when they had the last back, was it July or something? There was another internet cut there that they did to block the public from knowing what was going on. And he turned it on for Iran. So that may happen and that may help. I don't know. But they're now suggesting that the internet has been cut. Lots of there was reports of more gunfire after that had happened. So obviously this is a tactic to shut down communication. They also said cellular communication was shut too. So it wasn't just the internet; it was the ability to communicate. So as a mechanism for them to stop the protesting.
Yeah, and we don't know what the full truth is. I would say too, this could also be something where you have lots of operators there from the U.S. You have the president backing up the protesters, and it makes you wonder, is he doing that because there's a huge number of our people there pushing along different chunks of these protests, right? So if they hurt the protesters, they might be hurting, U.S. operators, right? So, I mean, it's pretty obvious that we're backing this protest. The president is literally saying that he is willing to bomb them if the right thing happens. He just called into a show a few hours ago. He essentially made it even more obvious that he's, right on edge and he is watching the situation. They are not, it seems to me, they're not even paying attention to what's going on in Portland and Minneapolis, as far as he is doing everything about Greenland, everything about Iran, everything about Venezuela. He's their whole thing is focused on that. And like we said with that pizza index, everybody's ordering into the Pentagon. There's a lot of ops going on right now, and this makes complete sense. I mean,
what do you think Russia is going to feel after losing Syria, Venezuela, if Iran's regime changes and they end up, siding into the Middle East with, the peace accords and away from Russia, and of course the U.S. encourages that, and then Cuba falls, right? All in less than a year. That's an insane,
like a month
flip power, right?
Well, you mean with Syria? I forgot, because I was going on the Syria thing. You guys saw in the news the Syria Central Bank and them random people just carrying out cash. Like, that was no accident. That was a chunk of their money too. That Bashar al-Assad, that was a money connection. They're going after the money. So that whole thing weakened Iran. Now look at their economy. Their economy is failing. They've basically been pushed back into their country as far as their military prowess, as far as their money, their operations. I mean, the U.S. is doing big things right now. This isn't meddling. This is like, we're basically changing the whole world right now.
Yeah, and I didn't even say Greenland, so which we already covered, right? So,
yeah,
like, okay, we get oil, we get a new vacation destination, we put an end to the funding of terrorism with Iran, and we get a location for the Golden Dome, right? All in a year. That would be insane. That's a huge flip, and I think that really puts our adversaries, in the corner, so to speak.
Michigan Lifestyle made a comment: never give away what you have, never admit to what you're doing. I don't know if you guys are talking about preps. When I started this channel, I don't know why, 5, 6, 7 years ago, people they're like, well, where's your preps? You don't show people what you have. That was always my thought. Like, why would you, especially if it's in a situation like this where it's just a one-way thing. You guys are watching on your TV. You get to see me. Everybody gets to see where I'm at, but I don't see the thousands of eyes watching my stash. Like, that's just dumb. If everything goes south, we already know. Like, most of you preppers know, your friends and family, the ones that know you're prepping, they're going to be knocking at your door. But then to have like 10,000, 20,000 people knocking on your door, that's kind of nuts. I wouldn't advise it. But even regular people, it's like, that's the thing. When nobody is going to be prepared, when anything goes down here, and I think that we have a good chance that something good is happening right here. But at the same time, I would look at this, and this, you know what I was thinking when I was looking at all of this over the last 3 days, is we are now putting people in corners. Iran right now is dealing with this. The retaliation, if they did have any kind of or infiltration in something, cyber, they would want to just put any kind of pain on the U.S. right now. They could do a 3-day blackout of the entire country. And I'm not saying Iran, but our adversaries, they could be calling China and saying, hey, let's move the timeline up. Let's knock out their power. Like, they're manipulating all of our allies right now. Talking about, Cuba, Venezuela, this, that. We need to strike right now while we still can. Because he's taking out all of their allies. I mean, this is insanity right now. And people don't think that the Iran is connected. I mean, it's everything right now is all, we're in war right now. This is World War III. And who knows, World War III may be much calmer than the last two. And I think it's a whole lot different because we're in a cyber world right now. By the way, I just wanted to say thank you so much to Kate Brown. Thank you for being a member for 1 month. Says, maybe I have to send this first. Julie Sieg says, thank you, by the way, Julie, and sent 5 badges to 5 different Foogle family members. Thank you. And then Colby Wilson, 817, says, America, F yeah, here to save the MF'n day. Mad respect, Marf Dex Mods. Colby, I hope you're right. There's some of these events I'm feeling good about. Like, for the first time in like 10 years, I'm thinking, man, maybe we can actually prevent this. But then the other part of me worries about the kind of retaliations that they have been setting up for decades, the kind of things that they've hidden, the kind of people that have infiltrated our country. Obviously, the last 4 years, in my opinion, those last 4 years, a majority of the people running our show were on somebody's payroll. And come this term, I don't know who's, in whose pockets with this group. But one thing is, it seems a whole lot more traditional America and American greed and American oil billionaires and the things we're used to than what has happened over the last 4 years. And what seemed a lot like, China and other countries fiddling with everything that's going on here to destroy us. But just my opinion. Let me know what yours is down in the comments down below. Horror plunge. Russian journalist who fled to Paris perishes in a plunge from an apartment and leaves mystery note about calls being intercepted. Dex, what the heck? This is a weird one.
Yeah, really weird. So sad, this relatively younger guy, Engin Savronov, 38, he had fled Putin's repressive regime, as they call it, and was found perished this morning after falling from the window of his 7th floor home. This is in Paris, where he fled to. But apparently the 38-year-old had reportedly received threats before this happened. The cops confirmed that the journalist had fallen from the window of his rented flat. An investigation has been opened to determine the circumstances of that fall. And there was a mysterious note, they claim, that was left behind. The note, written in Russian, said that all my accounts have been hacked. My Telegram account has been stolen. My mobile phones and applications have been cloned. But before he fell from the 7th floor window, he seemed to be panicking about being the victim of the cyber attack. They're saying he wrote, "My text messages and phone conversations have been intercepted. My phone has been infected by hackers." So
this sounds terrifying. This is terrifying.
It sounds really weird.
This sounds like they cut off all of his communications, took all of his access away, and then went in and pushed him off the roof. I mean, I don't think he took himself out because he saw his Telegram get stolen. I think, and I wonder how this note was left. And there's multiple angles here. This note could be left by the United States CIA that did this to make it look like Russia, to make everybody go, Russia's so horrible. Or Russia just took out this guy who was talking smack about him, and they used their clandestine services to take out all of his accounts, everything. I mean, that's scary. What if you're sitting there in a hotel in Paris, and all of a sudden all of these cyber things are happening? Your bank access is then gone. Your Telegram, your Twitter, your YouTube, everything's disappearing, and you're freaking out, and you're going, I can't access anything now. You're thinking they're coming after me. And then boom, you got somebody busts in the door or quietly comes in the door with black gloves and throws you off the freaking balcony. That's terrifying. That's a horror movie. That's straight out of a Bond film. But the way it's framed, imagine the guy sitting there going through everything going, holy crap, everything's disappearing right in front of him. I don't know. I find this really, really eerie. Especially, he's a journalist. I could only imagine if you're covering something or covering a story. And,
he was designated as a foreign agent. He worked for Open Media, and he had to flee Russia in 2021 after Open Media was designated as a foreign agent by the Kremlin. So then he bounced around, I think it was like India and Turkey, and then finally got permission or a passport or whatever to stay in France, visa to stay in France. That's when he ended up in France. So he's had a past with reporting, and it's kind of odd, like the way he went out. Like it almost could be like, they could have just been messing with him so much that it messed with him too, right? Like,
well, and his calls were being intercepted. See, but that
Right.
I think he's trying to tell people he's being attacked. The note, maybe he folded it up and put it around for the investigators. The investigators found it because he was trying to tell people, like, hey, they're coming after me. And this is just like my instinct goes to, like, he folded up a note for the police to find, hid it so whoever came after him or whoever threw him off this balcony, because he knew. He was trying to call and says, hey, I think somebody's coming after me. Those calls were being intercepted. He couldn't get a hold of anybody. He couldn't call out. He was probably asking for help. I think somebody's here to kill me. And it being intercepted, he wrote a note with all of this. And I wonder if it was folded up and put under a table or somewhere where they wouldn't see it, but would be seen by somebody who's dusting the whole place for fingerprints, doing that whole thing. What do you guys think? And I'm not saying that that's what happened. It very well could be the complete opposite. But my gut just, I got this weird feeling, like I felt his feelings. It was really odd. This really, I don't know why it hits home. Just makes me feel creeped out. And then the president says he's instructing his representatives to buy $200 billion in mortgage bonds, claiming it will lower rates. Dex, do you want to explain why he says that this is going to be a good thing? But I do want to remind you guys, stick around. In just a second, we're going to talk about something even weirder. We'll talk about the ISS and the mysterious coming home early because of a medical condition, what it could be too. Dex, go ahead.
Well, yeah. So this one's kind of, I won't say it's odd, but it's good. It's important to all of us because every one of us here is reeling with the effects of high home costs, whether it's rent, your mortgage, your interest rate, or the fact that maybe you can't feel like you could sell your house and move because interest rates are so bad, or you can't buy your first house if you're young because interest rates are so bad. So, but what he is saying is he's instructing, and he didn't say who, but then they came out and they said who, but he's instructing his representatives, as he called it, to buy $200 billion in mortgage bonds, meaning that we're going to do that. Now, Pulte, the FHFA director, came out and said, we're on it. Thanks to President Trump, Fannie and Freddie will be executing. So obviously Fannie and Freddie are going to be buying up all these bonds. And it's also interesting because
that gives away money, Bill Pulte.
Is that the same guy? I don't know.
Yeah, that like goes, I'm buying your lunch today. I'm sending you $1,000. That's the guy? I didn't know he was
Bill Pulte. I don't know. Is it the same guy? I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure.
Maybe it is.
He got into millions and millions of dollars. He's very, very rich.
William Pulte. It
looks like him.
This article.
It looks just like him. I didn't. Pulte. Yeah. I think this is him.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway,
yeah.
Look, nonetheless, they're going to buy up all these bonds. So it's, in one hand, there's also this notion that Freddie and Fannie may be going IPO and going public, which will be interesting as well. I don't know what that actually means for all of us, but the other thing that was also mentioned, not necessarily in this article, but it's been talked about today around this, was Trump trying to stop the institutional investors from buying all the homes up. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but a lot of the houses over the last, few years have all been bought up by, most people call it BlackRock, but these big investors that are just buying up all the houses so they can turn them into rental properties and drive rents up and make tons of money off it. I personally think it's because they're moving their money, hedging their money out of the risky other locations they had it, and they needed to put it in something more stable, which was real estate. But he's talking about potentially stopping that. And I think even BlackRock's dollar value on their stock took a big hit today. Like, somebody had reported like $18 billion that had gone down, but I don't know if that's true or not at that level, but it did take a dive. So interesting things, but I guess it's sort of a good sign for all of us that are worried about housing and what housing costs, whether it's rent or buying a house or your current mortgage, whatever that may be.
And yes, it is the guy that I thought it was. He was the Twitter philanthropy guy, and he got really, really popular. In fact, it was right before the president won his second term that, I think the president even said something like, that guy's really good. He was giving away thousands of dollars. He was paying people's bills. Everybody, you guys remember this. Some of you I know, I'm not going to say your name, but you even were messaging him all the time saying hey, can you help me with my bills? And one of you ended up having your electricity bill paid by Bill Pulte. And I'm not saying this he's a good guy. The philanthropy thing in general, especially since social media, people helping out homeless creators, just recently had that Nickelodeon kid that was on drugs in the last 3 weeks. Everybody was talking about him. He was on a kid show on Nickelodeon. Everybody made this big popular thing, if people saw him being homeless, to go give him money on video, and all these video creators were giving him money, and it was he was going and getting substances with it, and it sent him down a huge spiral, because now all of a sudden he had people handing him money left and right. So other creators then went and said we need to get him into the actual hospital, and of course he didn't. He went out the back door or whatever. I don't know the update on that sense, but it was as I was watching this, I'm this is the downside of all of this. It's people were giving him hundreds of dollars. He's going to go buy a rock with that. He's going to buy Fannie with that. he's going to support some freaking cartel with that. And you know, and you guys know I have a lot of heart and a lot of empathy for anybody that is stuck on something. I used to drink in my 20s like a fish, and my life only started getting better when I stopped. So, you know, with this Pulte guy, my thing though was with this, and anybody that was just giving away money, he got a lot of clout just from giving away money. The criticizers said, you know, he just basically inherited this money. He fell into this money. There was always a resentment, and you know, I know people look at me or watch this show once and they go, I don't like this guy. I didn't like him, and I had to look at myself and go, why? And I felt like it was because it was like he was getting, you know, he was just giving away money to get people to be like, you're so good. I guess in the last 10 years when I've seen people do this, it rubs me the wrong way. And, you know, because I guess once my problem is even in my 20s, I was enabled. And I know people like a family member right now, 30 years old, living at home. It's like, you need to kick his ass out so he can get on his own. Instead of enabling him and giving him stuff, you should be trying to give him a chance to work or this or that. But sometimes you just got to pull the cord, especially parents. It's like, you got to do it to get them out there so you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Well, you can also fish for somebody or teach somebody to fish so they can fish for themselves. And a lot of people don't do that nowadays. They just kind of give them the temporary thing. And when you add in social media, when people do that just for clout, it just bugs me the wrong way. And I feel like he was really, really popular as a philanthropist back then, right when the president was picking all these people. So I just wonder how that fits into this huge $200 billion package. If you go to his Twitter, he posts all about it. You know, I just, these are all multi-millionaires. And I guess none of us really see eye to eye with any of them. Wearing, you know, $20,000 dresses and suits that, you know, would be all of our debt, you know, or a Toyota for our kid. So yeah, I don't see eye to eye with these people. Jace, what is going on? Make sure to go check this out if you haven't already, especially with what's going on with China, what's going on with the world. China controls 90% of all of our antibiotics. So if you want some in an emergency, a very specific emergency that is very possible, it would take almost all of those out of the picture. But other emergencies, even fires, natural disasters in your city, could have you know, a hospital could be 5 blocks away, and it doesn't matter if nobody's at it. You know, pharmacy could be 2 blocks away, and it won't be any help if everybody's already rated it. So go to marfooglenews.com/Jace and make sure to use the code MARF. Obviously, this is a kit that has all of the most commonly prescribed antibiotics, but you can also add in things like albuterol and other very common things that you would need in emergency. Go to marfooglenews.com/Jace. That code gets you a discount, MARF, but it will also help out our channel as well. It really does. We do appreciate any of you going through our affiliates. I also think that these are good because, you know, you're not just giving money to a creator, you are actually getting something out of it, getting a discount, and you're helping independent media at the same time, rather than just handing somebody money. And then we have, let's see, from Australia, or from Tasmania. Every time I see Blackbird, good day from Tasmania. I've been watching since 2019, only a recent member. Thank you, Blackbird, and it is nice to hear your good day from Tasmania almost every week, so thank you. All right, and then let's go over to NASA to bring space station astronauts back to Earth weeks early due to a medical situation. And I don't know, something, just kind of an alert went off in my head about this and what was going on currently with the world, what's going on with the Space Force being quiet, all of these weird things that are happening right now. Dex, what did you think when you saw this? NASA to bring them back. They say that this person has a medical thing, and they can't just bring one person back. They basically might as well switch out all of them, right?
So it sounds like they're bringing the crew 11, all astronauts back. They won't tell us who it is, and they won't tell us what's wrong with them. They did tell us that there was a spacewalk that got canceled. and I believe that there was 2 names that were supposed to be on that spacewalk, and so you might infer that one of those 2 could be it. I'm trying to find that. But so NASA will bring back the Crew 11 astronauts back to Earth from the ISS on Saturday, weeks earlier than planned, due to a medical situation with an unnamed crew member. The agency said earlier in the day that it had postponed a U.S. astronaut spacewalk outside the ISS due to a medical situation that arose on Wednesday. The spacewalk would have seen Commander Mike Finke and flight engineer Zena Cardman exit the space station. So if they cancel that due to a medical situation, you might infer it's one of those 2 people.
And China's not.
Right?
China's no longer part of our ISS program, right?
No, they're not.
It says
They have
Japan
their
and
own-
Russia.
They have their own space station. Yeah, just Japan and Russia are the only ones I'm aware of. But I don't know who all is on up there at the moment, other than what they're telling us right now about this Crew 11 astronauts returning.
Okay, so the weird thing is why any kind of unnamed thing at all? I could see if the person. Well, what if there was a fight up there? What if it was China, Russia, and the U.S. But China's out of it. Russia's still up there. What if Russian? Straight out of a movie. What if the Russia and the U.S. Person had a fight or something, and somebody hurt the other? It's odd that they have any kind of secrecy around, that you would think they would just say what the medical condition is. They're saying an unnamed person. Like, why this secrecy?
Well, they say they don't want to reveal the person's personal information about their medical condition. HIPAA laws, right?
You could have herpes or something. Oh gosh,
Yeah.
I slept with the Russian. I don't know. But what I will say is, there's also that other stuff that's been going on. The Chinese space station had that issue where something apparently damaged one of their thing, and I said, watch for a tit for tat kind of thing. What if a satellite loaded an impactor and threw a rock at their ISS and some guy got hurt by it, and they're being hush hush, and this is the cover story? I don't know. It seems just something. The hair on the back of my neck go up when there's weirdness involved. But it very well could just be that, he has something, it's private. Maybe they don't want to report it and then have the family back at home say, oh my gosh, our dad has cancer or something before he tells them.
What's also interesting is that, we've talked about this older story that had been around for a long time, which was the leaking section of the ISS, which was the Russian section. And it always had this persistent leak. And it was so bad that they, a lot of times when they would go in and out of that section, they would close off the other sections. Like the Americans, like, don't, make sure our doors are shut. Like, we don't trust it, or let's sleep with the door closed so we don't have to worry about anything going wrong over there. Well, just this month, which this month is not old, it's only been 8 days. They said that not mysteriously, but I guess surprisingly, after half a decade, the Russian space station segment has stopped leaking all of a sudden. I don't know what that means. It's holding steady, they say. That's just this month.
Oh my gosh, I figured it out. The medical condition is the guy stuck his thumb in and his thumb's still in there. Now he's missing a thumb and he's coming home with one thumb. The other thumb is fixing the leak, but apparently they could not, with no matter how much WD-40 they put on it, they could not get his thumb out. They had to chop it off and they're sending him home. They probably got drunk on some Russian alcohol. This is how I see it. And they were happy, and he goes, I'll fix the leak right now. And he sticks his thumb in. Or something else, which would even be worse, which I wouldn't want to be named either. So maybe that's it, Dex. What do you think? But back to seriousness. U.S. border agents take a shot at 2 different people in Portland. They said that the passenger was potentially a Trendiagua prostitute, and it was the passenger they were looking for, that this vehicle tried to run them over as well. No joke. The second day, and this one is in Portland. The 2 people show up, they call the police. Apparently, what happened is they tried to run them down, and then they fled. So the border agents weren't even there. They've been shot. At first, it made it sound like the DHS shot him and then left the scene. But then they later came out and said, no, they shot them in the car and the car kept driving away. And then they called for help because they were sitting in their vehicles with gunshots. So this whole thing is a very, very bad event to happen. Everybody's talking about yesterday in Minneapolis. Minneapolis is absolutely going nuts. And now Portland, the place where almost everything kicks off, along with my city, Seattle, is probably one of the worst places this could happen. Because this is the place where they have 24/7 groups trying to stop and inhibit the actions of the DHS and the border agents and ICE. Dex, what do you think we could see in Portland?
They love to protest there. So yeah, I think this will be a quick escalation, and now we'll have two going, which will help get the whole nation going, and we can get right back to where we were when this happened the last time. And but the big question I have is, was the last time really organic, or was it funded? And if it was funded, who's got the funds now? And did enough of the funds get dried up with all of the closings that went on with Doge and others, or is the money still there if this all was funded to bring the people back out to the streets, or was it all truly organic?
Yeah, and just to clarify, Dex is not saying like that the event was funded, but the response.
Yeah. The protest. Everybody said, a lot of people have claimed that.
I said almost the exact same thing the other day, and I got emails saying like, "What do you mean that somebody would perish because somebody would pay them?" And I was saying, no, somebody would pay 50 people to organize 5,000 people to go out and do it, or even pay people to be there. We don't know if that's what is happening, but again, that's what some theorize. So, and I am one who walked through the Summer of Love. I walked through the Capitol Hill area that was taken over. I got drone shots. Actually, I was looking through all the footage of that time period. I got so many cool shots of up above, and for somebody who didn't agree with what they were doing there, I did get to walk through it. I mean, it was a big party. It was a big hippie party. They were sleeping on the field. They were doing murals on the street. I got a time lapse of them when they actually did the Black Lives Matter mural on the ground. It's like, I don't know, 90 feet long. But I got the entire thing in this time lapse of them painting it. So it was actually a really cool video, considering that whole time period was just nuts. And then another on that same card, I found where all of the downtown Seattle buildings did their lights to say like "We Love" and then BLM on it. I mean, it was just such a crazy time, and it brought me back to just CV and everything that happened then. It was nuts. Everybody was at home. Gosh, we had 15,000 people watching at one point on multiple platforms. It was a crazy time in our channel too. So yeah, the whole thing, something smells about the timing of all of these events we've just talked about. Make sure to go check out Energy if you haven't already. This is our recommendation for a solar generator. If you're going to get one, you might as well get one that is going to guaranteed work. Even if any kind of adversary tries to turn it off, they can't, because the batteries of this one are made in America. They just moved the battery manufacturing over here under specifications for the U.S. Army. This is the same generator that won the SBIR Phase 2 contract. This is going to be on the back of Humvees. So it's definitely tough enough for your daily life. Again, it is modular, meaning you can have one battery, you can have two, you can have five. You can have, I believe it's up to 40 or something like that. But most people are probably going to get one or two, maybe three, and click it on. And then when they need to use it, you can just do the clamps and take one battery with you, which one battery is 1,000 milliamp hours, just one, and then take it wherever, work site, campsite, or retail site. My friends have used it for the flea markets and stuff, lighting their booth and charging all of their devices and running their tablet for their square. So you can use it for fun, you can use it for work, you can use it for anything. Plus you can plug this into solar panels and get power from the sun Or you can plug it into the wall while we still have a grid and keep it charged at all times. So when the next storm hits or you have high winds and your power goes out, you can keep going. So go to marfooglenews.com. The Flex Tactical, again, is what you're going to be looking at. And there is no wait. You will get it right away. People a few years ago waited 9 months for their Flex Tactical, or their Flex 1500 and their Flex Tacticals because of that military contract. This is a batch that's out. It's the old price with the new American batteries, but they will be going up in price very soon. marfooglenews.com/energy. And again, they've put out, they have basically had separate batches. You know, they said, hey, you guys are going to pick from this pool. And that's what this is. So I'm pretty sure that regular people are going to be paying a lot more for the American wages here soon. All right. And then thank you, Dex, so much for your service tonight. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
From Tasmania, Blackbird, thank you so much for supporting. Colby Wilson, thank you. Julie Sieg, thank you so much. Sent 5 badges. Thank you, and thank you. Our top 10, Colby Wilson, thank you. Blackbird, Mark Nibbs, See Her Here Think, Briar Patch author Lori Ann Smith, Sean, thank you. Walt, Angela Perfelli, and Dr. Huru. Thank you so much to the mods. Make sure to go check them out over on marfooglenews.com/friends, or just go to marfooglenews.com and click on the Friends tab. You have Chance over there. He's got books over on Amazon. You have, of course, Wages. He has all of the solar events covered. You got Trinity, all of the rabbit holes covered. Ilea, all of the laughs covered. You got Rip Curl, all of the Rip Curls covered. And you've got Lisa R. Halls. You've got all the hall monitoring. So, yeah, freaking go there. Jammer, and everybody else, thank you guys so much for being mods. And then, of course, CJ Blaze, we miss you. And Bones, I miss Bones. All of those people are absolutely awesome. You guys have a wonderful night. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. Talk to military. They say it's gonna be scary, but we still have to stand up and fight. How you plan, how you prep, do it all by yourself. Don't let anybody stop you. Your instincts got you. Don't let it go. These people can't read between the lines. They think that it's so good, that it's so fine. I tell you what, they can't see the gray. And these people shouldn't have a single say. How you plan, how you prep, do it all by yourself. Don't let anybody stop you. We're gonna be thanking, of course, our top supporters over on Jams. If you want to follow over, some of the music is bad. Have a good night. How you plan, how you prep, do it all by yourself. Don't let anybody stop you. Your instincts got you. Don't let it. Actually, it's a normal size finger for being little finger.